Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's Hollywood on the Rocks. Today on the show, is Disney bad at Star Wars? An article asks, and we respond. Plus, major Marvel news about the Daredevil series, upcoming series, Born Again. I learned some things, so get ready for that. Plus, an interview with the director of Wineville. She is joining us on the show today. Director Brande Roderick. And so much more Hollywood news. That's why we call it Hollywood on the Rocks. Plus your chat, comments, and questions. And Alan Ng, who's waiting in the wings. Yes, my friend, and not just a friend, a partner. Alan Ng will be here. And I know you like that. So let's get things going. Let's start the show. Let's go. Alan, he's always late. He's always late.
I'm really busy at the moment with Dr. Doom, but I'll say it, Alan.
How did you get Robert Downey Jr. to do that intro for you, Alan?
He's a good friend of mine. I love RDJ, as we all like to call him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves that.
Well, I am in a good mood today. I am rested.
Yeah. No nooner.
No nooner. That's the secret. I think doing the nooner, I love doing the nooner with Gary. It's like hanging out with a friend, but it's long. And then I barely have time to eat and then got to get back in the chair for more. But yeah, I love this.
Yeah. And I love the fact that we may spill something on this show.
Over the weekend at LA Comic-Con, as you know, hung out with a lot of people, and I heard some things, and I will tell you the specifics of what I learned later in the show. It is a big show today. So there you go. Let's see who's here in the chat.
Yes, Patrick Lemire, welcome aboard. The Acolyte is like herpes.
Yeah, we will not be talking about the Acolyte today. I'm 99.9% certain it won't come up, but it might come up.
Mike, wait. I still have to disagree with Chris on Joker 2. That was the best direction Todd Phillips could have done.
I disagree with you, Mike, respectfully. And I love nerd debates. You know, I like nerd debates. You are attacking my opinion. Fair game. What I don't respond to is when people get personal or insulting or make comments about people's appearance or I don't respond to that. I don't do it. Okay. Unless I'm really good friends with you and we're goofing on each other, whatever. But I disagree. A direction they could have gone is Harley Quinn could have broken Joker out of prison. They could have gone on a killing spree like Natural Born Killers and become heroes in a Bonnie and Clyde sense. Imagine that movie for Joker 2 with Lady Gaga. I think that could have worked. What they did was, I think, the worst possible thing. So, Mike, respectfully disagree, and I love myself a good nerd debate.
Yeah. I'll just say there's a good hour and 10 minutes that I really liked.
Well, there you go. Fair.
Outside of that, forget it. Box Office Brawler for $2. Is it such a terrible thing that I love Chris Gore?
I like that. Thank you.
I would say you
appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
You can be in the Chris Gore fan club with that. Thank you for your super chats. We appreciate those.
Yes. All right, Leslie Tarkin. The Acolyte is like a bad rash that keeps popping up. So far, it's like herpes. It's like a bad rash.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Just won't go away.
All right. Solomon Thorne, is Disney bad at Star Wars? Is water wet?
Well, absolutely, Solomon. Thank you for being here. Appreciate seeing
in
you.
the woods. Go ahead.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
Lord Thoth,
Wait,
share,
what? I'm
subscribe.
sorry, Alan. I talked over you.
I know. Sorry. This Lord Thoth, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Sign up as a member. Join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. Buy our merch. Shop.filmthreat.com.
Now, a limited time. You have less than 1 month to get T-shirts from our election collection. Also, we have shirts for October for Halloween season, but the election collection, the one I'm wearing now, gone after November 5th. They will be collector's items. Grab a set of buttons or a shirt and pick your color. We've got the Drinker's Choice collection. I love our merch. And the retro one, I just got that Warriors shirt. So I'm very excited about that. Go to shop.filmthreat.com.
I found it.
Great. We appreciate your support. Thank you, Alan. What are you doing?
I found it.
It's all good, my man. It's all good. But I'm saying
I found it.
I'm going to unfind it.
All
right. Let's get to our first news story. We're going to pop around. So, Alan, if you would not mind, let me bring this up because you had brought up this story about Lionsgate and the failures of this studio. I admire Lionsgate. They are the company behind, the John Wick series, a lot of action movies, a lot of, they haven't, in my mind, they haven't really been a studio that's leaned into, say, wokeness. They go with your staples, action, and a lot of movies.
Faith division,
they movies that I like, and not movies that are a huge gamble. So you've got an update. Tell us what the update is.
I have an update. I have an update.
Is there no update? Why is this here?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know why that's there.
All right. Pilgrim Media for Two says we are hunkered down waiting for the hurricane. Yeah, thoughts and our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone affected. I know a lot of our friends in Florida are bracing for it. So everybody get to safety. This is no messing around. I'm just, from everything I've been hearing.
Yeah, I just heard that tornadoes are now hitting Florida, which just adds to the fun.
Yeah. So, okay. No Lionsgate update. See, I assume when these are in here that they've been vetted and are all there on purpose at the top. And
well, I will say the ones that I put in. Yes.
Okay. I'm told there is an email /story on the doc about Lionsgate. Alan has to familiarize himself. I know the stories I put in, the stories I'm doing.
And I know the stories I put in and that I'm doing.
Well, I don't like, this is why before the show, I don't like talking about Crocs or anything. What did you put? We need to do a briefing.
I know.
We need to do a briefing before the show about the show we're about to do. So when you prep for the show and you suggest all these stories, do you pre-read them in advance?
Well, again,
this is a list of things that
this story came out at the last minute.
All right, we'll talk about this on Friday. Next story.
Yeah. Are you answering an email?
Yeah, because that's all I fucking do.
Yes, but I believe that email has been resolved.
I believe it has.
I believe it has been resolved and should not be affecting the show right now.
I also know how hard Alan works. See how we turn it around there? What news story? Hey, thanks, Anna. Thanks, Anna, causing all the drama on Monday's Versus show. Anna,
well,
I see you in the chat. What story would you like to start with, Alan, before we get to Star Wars in about at the bottom of the hour?
All right. So let's talk about the Joker.
Okay.
Inside the Joker Folie à Deux debacle, Todd Phillips wanted nothing to do with DC on the $200 million misfire. On September 30th, Lady Gaga blew kisses to fans outside the Chinese theater ahead of the premiere of Joker Folie à Deux, with Joaquin Phoenix, while Joaquin Phoenix dropped his typical solemn facade and flashed a few smiles from the red carpet. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav dropped by the after party at Sunset Tower and mingled with the fans, mingled with the film's two high-paid lead as the meatless sliders made the rounds. For all the stars' wattage on display, there were some notable no-shows, namely DC Studios topper James Gunn and Peter Safran. Wow. Insiders say the duo's glaring absence for the film that is based on one of the biggest draws of the DC canon underscores the dysfunctional dynamic that played out behind the scenes on the ill-fated Warner Brothers musical. Todd Phillips wanted nothing to do with DC during the making of the film, says one agent familiar with the director's unique carve-out, which allowed him to bypass any oversight from the brand's gatekeepers. Although Gunn was publicly supportive of the idea, Phillips has distanced himself from DC as the animated title card sequence unspooled inside the iconic Hollywood city. In the opening minutes, it became apparent that Phillips had just given DC the middle finger. There was no DC studio logo.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that it's sort of outside the DC universe in a way. But yeah, I like the idea that you can tell other stories with DC characters that don't affect the canon or chronology of a connected universe. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind that. I think though that we've been kind of hoodwinked with this. I love the first film. I think the first film is amazing and has a lot to say. And the second Joker is completely unnecessary. Additionally, I think a better sequel might have been, as I mentioned, a Joker and Harley chaotic relationship, murder spree, kind of like Natural Born Killers meets Bonnie and Clyde. That would have been epic, where he has notoriety and he becomes, in Gotham, they're always being chased, whatever it is. That would have been Natural Born Killers. I love, from Oliver Stone. Love that film. It still holds up with Trent Reznor's Nine Inch Nails music. Love it. Why not something like that? He went a completely different direction, and it's like erasing all the good things about the first film. What are your thoughts, Alan?
Well, I mean, it's right in the title there. Wanted nothing to do with DC. Then why give him the privilege to do it? Why give him the Joker?
I'll tell you, I have 1 billion reasons for you.
I understand that, but to look, if I'm going to give you $100 million and then I'm going to give you $200 million to take my toy and play with it, shouldn't there be some kind of respect behind that? I think that's what.
Right.
The more I think about this stuff, it's like the way it seems to be happening is it's like I have this queer story to tell, this LGBT story to tell, but I can't get it funded. No one wants to hear my story, so I'll give it to Disney and they'll let me put it under a Star Wars brand. That's what it seems like here. I've got a story to tell. It's kind of a Joker story. I can't. No one will fund it. No one will back it. But hey, what if I make it a Joker story instead? Because to me, that's what becomes the disregard for fans. And this is what we keep talking about week after week, is that the studios that own this stuff, that bought this stuff and that now own it, has no regard for fans. And to have someone come out and blatantly state it just bothers me.
Well, and in another headline, we should go to this because it relates. Joker 2 director Todd Phillips says Arthur Fleck was never Joker. So Here he just blatantly says it. He's not the Joker. Is it spoilers, people? Does anyone care about Joker 2 spoilers at this point? Anyone? I'm gonna put up the.
Are there still holdouts?
Are there holdouts?
People still want to watch the movie?
He is. Oh, who knows? It could be a dream. Maybe there'll be a Joker 3 where it was all a dream, but he is killed in the final moments of the film, and another prisoner carves his face to become potentially a Joker figure, become the leader of this movement. But he blatantly just says right out, never supposed to be the Joker. Alan, if you'd read the highlights of this for me.
Okay.
And this is from Variety. Good source.
Okay, so we'll go right to the Todd Phillips quote here. He realized that everything is so corrupt, it's never going to change, and the only way to fix it is to burn it all down. Director Todd Phillips told Entertainment Weekly when asked about having Arthur confess to his sins. When those guards killed that kid in the hospital, he realizes that dressing up in makeup, putting on this thing, is not changing anything. In some ways, he accepted the fact that he's always been Arthur Fleck. He's never been this thing that's been put upon him. This idea that Gotham people put on him that he represents. He's an unwitting icon. This thing was placed on him, and he doesn't want to live as fake anymore. He wants to be who he is. Honestly, that's what I got out of the movie. That was my understanding of this.
Yeah.
But to go to the headline here, again, it's like Todd Phillips had a story in mind, and the only way he could get it greenlit was to put some kind of IP on it, which is Joker. And I also say that about the first film. And the studios are just more than willing to do that, given who these directors are and the stories that they want to tell. But again, I don't watching Joker 2, and I said in the review when we talked about it, you could have just removed all of Joker, all the DC stuff, and told the story as it is as a musical. You probably have a much better movie. But when you put the Joker facade on it, the overlay on it, there are expectations that you have to meet and address, and fans you have to pacify, and to just completely disregard that is why this movie failed.
You can't just dismiss fans' criticisms or dislike for the movie and the reasons they dislike it, and also the box office reflects it. Normies are not interested. And a lot of people going are just curious because it's so bad. It's been so badly reviewed, both critically, and fans are aligned in like a 30 some odd % on Rotten Tomatoes, both critics and audience, which is rare these days for critics and audiences to be in agreement. And the cinema score, by the way, which I happen to vote. I was at a movie theater where they passed out a piece of paper, and it's weird how you do it. You you tear back the vote you want to make and put it in a big bag, and they do this all over and get cinema score is notoriously generous. If you get less than a B, you're looking at a bomb, and Joker scored a D cinema score. So I don't expect, I feel that though, whatever lessons could be learned from the failure of Joker will not be learned.
Yeah.
Final thoughts before we move to our next topic.
Yeah. Again, to attach an IP to it just means that they're desperate to get their project greenlit. There's some juice that comes with it. And what we're finding is that there's not been really an example of a film that took that juice and made it successful, except for the first Joker movie.
Well, there you go. Let's go to your comments quick. We're going to have fewer comments today because we have so many topics.
We have an amazing guest too. Oliver Lavery Farag for £5. I'm voting Film Threat 24. When you win, we should all celebrate with some me goring noodles. Prop 69.
That's right. Vote Film Threat.
I am become deaf destroyer of words. Folia Doodoo or Folia Poo. Cosmic Crush. I haven't seen Joker 2 yet, but the end sounds like a leftist wet dream. I don't think so. Lord Cornett. A better sequel would have been none at all.
Agreed.
Andrew Wordna. He's a Joker, not the Joker. Ooh, art. Oh, art. Okay. Jimmy Francis, but didn't the first draft of the Joker, first one, nothing to do with the Joker or DC? They had to make it that character get funding. Yeah, that's my point.
Well, I mean, there are other characters in the world. There's Thomas Wayne. Harvey Dent is in the second one. Bruce Wayne was in the first one. I mean,
yeah. But I mean, not to talk about a certain show, but Leslie Headland wanted to make a movie about her family and her sister, and they gave her a Star Wars. Oh, YOLO! I love this movie. It makes a lot of sense. That was the natural progression of the character. However, I understand the people had expectations about it. I mean, that's my point. The story's about Arthur Fleck. It shouldn't have been about the Joker. If you look at it as an Arthur Fleck movie, it's not too bad. And again, there's an hour and 10 minutes of music that I like.
Okay, I've got some major Marvel, I guess some would consider leaks because I heard some things from my sources. I'm getting to that later in the show because I want to show you something here. Here we go. Apparently, Disney Star Wars merch has made $1 billion in the last year. Let me get that off of there here. Disney made $12 billion off Star Wars last year. Haters be damned. I'll put this link. Basically, the crux of this story is that they generated $12 billion, with at least $1 billion of that coming from merch sales last year. Oh, really? Interesting that you say that. Here's the important part that I will demonstrate because I have receipts. What are my receipts? Well, I'll show you. Every year, I get a Christmas catalog. This is from Amazon. Share the joy. Okay, here, put me full screen here, and I'm going to show you. Share the joy. This comes out in October before the holidays. It's stuff you can buy from Amazon. And guess what? There's a whole section about Star Wars merch. Tons of stuff. There's Legos, action figures, a costume, toys, spaceships, t-shirts. It's all the OT. Sure, they're making a lot of money with merch, but what are they promoting? Do you see Disney, Star Wars, anything? No, it's all classic Star Wars. Look at that spread. There's another page. There's another page here. Oh, no, that's Marvel stuff. The Marvel page. Well, here's all your classic characters. Recognize all of those? There's Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America. Who else?
Ms. Marvel? There's no Ms. Marvel there?
No Ms. Marvel.
No Echo?
No Captain Marvel. You know what sells reliably? The classic. There's a Star Destroyer. Nothing from the sequel trilogy. Why is it making $1 billion? Tell me you can't tell me that they are making money off of what Disney created. Disney left a wake of disinterest and apathy with everything that they have created with Star Wars. But the classics sell. Darth Vader is the most popular figure in the Star Wars universe. He's used in all the marketing. I mean, second to maybe Baby Yoda. Grogu is dumb. But I put the link in private chat for this. The report states that the Galaxy's Edge attraction at Disney's 2 U.S. theme parks remains one of the most popular destinations for fans, with 1.2 million lightsabers alone being sold across both locations. There are more numbers in this, but trying to spin this as haters be damned is wrong. Because I bet if you break it down in terms of what sells, it would be classic. Here we go. It's a familiar scenario in many ways, as the same thing happened with Kennerback when Star Wars was first released in 1977. The company failed to produce any physical merch to help promote the film in time for holiday season. Instead, they released the Star Wars early bird certificate package for $11.99, which, by the way, I got that at Christmas. I got a piece of cardboard which had poster and stickers for Christmas and waited like 6 months to get the figures. I didn't mind. I was in heaven. It was awesome. But this goes on. I'll just say this. They need to break down exactly what is selling, but based on one of the top catalogs from Amazon, I don't see one thing from the Disney Star Wars at all. It's Vader, Stormtroopers, familiar stuff. And I think part of that reason, the reason for that is also because they don't have to pay likeness fee necessarily to people like Daisy Ridley or Mark Hamill, right? They'd rather a costumed figure like Darth Vader is owned by the company. And so there you are. So I don't know. I think if you really dig in with this and you break it down by licensing, what characters are the most popular in terms of what is purchased by fans, I see a lot of Rose Ticos and a lot of sequel trilogy stuff in the sale rack. I saw a lot of bins at LA Comic-Con of figures that nobody seemed to want. But Darth Vader, the classics, always seem to sell. Alan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so let me ask you this, and we'll get to the bad rash of herpes for a moment. How did you buy the Acolyte figures?
I ordered it directly from Hasbro Pulse.
Right, because you could only buy it through pre-order, which meant you can't buy it at Walmart. You can't buy it at Target. And my guess is that Walmart and Target don't want it. And so the only way to get Acolyte figures, action figures, was to pre-order it on Hasbro, which says something about just how popular Disney Star Wars has become. I will also tell you, yeah, there we go. Master Soul.
There we go.
Yeah.
Look, by the way, reason for getting this, these will be used in the coming to Film Threat Plus series, The Acolyte Season 2 in 2025.
Right. Because remember,
wait to see the trailer, by the way.
Yeah. We walked throughout all of LA Comic-Con. How much Acolyte merch did we see?
Almost zero.
Almost zero. To counter your story, though, I will tell you this. The last time I was at Downtown Disney, they have a Star Wars store where Rainforest Cafe used to be. And you walk into the Star Wars store, guess what you can't buy and guess what you can buy? You can't buy Lucas Star Wars, but you can buy Disney Star Wars.
Wow.
And one thing that I noticed was that Yoda has been completely replaced by Grogu.
Yeah, that's weird. Yoda is one of my favorite characters for the philosophy. That was from Empire. I love Yoda for many reasons, which is mainly because he's small and underestimated, or at least was in Empire Strikes Back. So I always love the character. Love Yoda.
Yeah.
But yeah, they seem to just, we're getting into, something, a property is over when they go to babies. You've got Muppet Babies, right? What other series have babies? In the chat, tell me what other series have babies.
Spider-Man.
When it gets to babies, you've run out of ideas. And that Disney, it's not a surprise. They created Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I mean, they're Jedi babies. They're Spider-Man babies.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember long ago, when Disney had just bought, I guess Disney was still in kind of a license agreement with Lucasfilm, but you had all the Disney characters dressed as, so there was a mini Slave Leia, and I once owned a big fig of that and sold it for a lot of money. And it was Disney made a lot of money off that merch, and I can't imagine they're making money right now. Oh yeah, I guess the 12 billion, but I think you're for the most part right, and that the only people holding on to is Disney Star Wars.
Well,
No, it's Disney.
my conclusion with this is classic Star Wars is still popular. The new Star Wars is less so. And if you break the money down by popularity of character or the license, you'll find that, look, they built an entire hotel dedicated to the Disney Star Wars. It closed in a year. What does that say? What does that say? Let's go to your comments and questions here, starting with Andrew Cram, member for 8 months. Hi, Chris and Ellen. Thanks for being awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you, Andrew, for gifting 20 Film Threat memberships.
Yo.
Appreciate that. Look for new videos in our members only videos section. And thank you for that. And that Star Wars girl, do you still have the cardboard for the original? No, they did do a reissue and I bought that. So I have that. If you could read these, Alan.
Yeah, Dak Sports. Just further proof there's a market for good Star Wars, just not Disney Star Wars. Absolutely. Yep. Gridiron Masters. No way Rose Tico bobbleheads aren't making millions.
Yeah.
MK Solid. My Twitter feed is just full of memes from MK Solid. There's no way they made all that money. They have destroyed the toy sales. Yep.
MK Solid just has rotted my brain with it's great. First of all, it's great, but it's hilarious.
You don't like seeing erotic images of yourself?
Yeah. No.
Brock Samsonite, all of it from Baby Yoda.
That's right. All right. Pivoting here. And this is not a story, but it will be. Because I was at LA Comic-Con and I talk to people in the industry and I hear things about what's going on at Marvel. And I can tell you some things. Some of it is good news. Some might say bad or unsurprising news. And that is this. And I will just go in order. I know a lot. I'm just going to tell you what I'm able to report at this time, which is that the upcoming Captain America movie is awful. They've done more than one version of it. It's not landing. It's going to be really bad, and it will be shuffled out in February. And don't get your hopes up. Your expectations, keep them low. Conversely, the Thunderbolt is actually very good from what I heard. Sebastian Stan is excellent. And because there are no expectations or low expectations for that movie, I am told it will surprise you. And pay close attention to Bob in the movie.
We all know who Bob is.
No spoilers.
We all know who Bob is. I'm not going to say
Bob is more important than you might think.
Yeah.
So I heard a lot of things about Thunderbolts that just be prepared that you may be surprised. And I think, look, I don't want to dislike a movie. I don't want to dislike a movie. I want things to be good. So that's encouraging.
So you're saying it's good to have low expectations for the Thunderbolt?
Sure. But the best thing I heard was about Daredevil Born Again. Now, while I know specifics in the series, and I'll share a few with you, what I'm told is it is hard R rated. Expect it on the same level as the Netflix series. I'll share two specific things that I know. One, it is very violent. Mm-hmm. Perhaps more so than the Netflix series. There is, and the person I spoke to saw all the episodes, and there is a amazing scene where Daredevil and Kingpin have a meeting where it was described as being like the De Niro Al Pacino meeting in Heat at the diner, where it's very tense. And Daredevil and Kingpin have a meeting that is similar to that scene, or maybe perhaps inspired by, where they talk about how things are gonna go, because Kingpin has come to power in the city. Let's just say that. And it's supposed to be, it's just a scene with dialogue that goes on really long, but it's so intense as to be like, it's the best thing in the show. The level of violence, I'll give you one example. This is Kingpin right out of the comics in terms of his, in terms of being a towering figure. He takes I am merely the messenger passing along what I was told. He takes the head of someone and rips it apart, like crushing it like a melon or a pumpkin, ripping the head. That's the level of violence. It's hard R rated. So, I mean, I hope everything I'm hearing about Daredevil is very good. I think it's encouraging that they stopped production and completely revamped it. So I have more I can say, but it's very early. So that's all I'll leave you with. Captain America, don't get your hopes up. Thunderbolt, surprising. It may surprise you. And Daredevil is looking good. And there you go. And now I'm going to wait for 100 articles to come out that other YouTubers are going to read.
But you heard it here first.
You heard it here first. And I'll tell you more as I get it. This look, and I hope, look, we don't really do this kind of rumor reporting, but I know things I can say. And when I'm confident, I will tell you, but we're not one of those channels that is, you know, just
kind of pulling news out of nothing.
Yeah, it's like, no, we do it very rarely. You know, we told you about the Acolyte. We've told you things in the past. So there you go. Let's go to your comments and questions here.
All right, John Thomas for 5. Chris, I saw a vid about a lost pilot. Hail, honey, I'm home. Yes, it's a sitcom about a funny mustache guy. Is this a real thing or a
It's called Hail, Honey, I'm Home. Yes, that's a real sitcom. I believe it's British. Look it up.
Yep. Oilers Workshop for $4.99. You absolutely can buy Acolyte figs at Walmart and Target because they are opened, put and are just sitting there just doing nothing.
Yep.
Leslie Tarkin, when will it be the gayest Daredevil ever?
No.
No one. HD, hey, it's me and HD. That bullseye leak is fire. I don't know if that was leaked. I think we already heard he was going to be in it. Yeah. BJ Kazai, honestly, if they would they would have given Sam the serum, I would have been all about him being capped. Yeah, I would say if they had given Sam a home loan, I would have been all in.
Good one, Alan.
Seed, my expectation are in the toilet. I think that's the best way to approach Thunderbolts. It's going to be bad, and just let it surprise you.
Now, I know a lot more, but I just want to give you a tease, and I don't want to say everything. I also don't want to.
I've been in some of the. I'll just say I've been in some of the conversations. Chris, you are holding back a lot.
I am because. Well, what should I say?
You should. Look. People need to experience the show as it is.
That's what I mean. I don't. If I give away too much, I'll ruin it.
Yeah.
Like, there's one major spoiler I know that was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Let's wait until the show is about to come out.
Yeah. Jonas J. Campbell for 199. Those channels are fun. Yes, they are fun, Jonas.
Yes, but they have. Yes, I'll say this, but they have zero credibility. If you get my meaning.
Except your channel, Jonas.
We're not talking about you, Jonas.
Yeah, we're not talking about you.
We're not talking about you, Jonas. So there you go. All right, it's time for our main topic today. A story that appeared last week, which Alan will bring up and we'll read through.
Okay,
And
so
it's
the
a
link
long
is no
one.
longer in the doc, so I don't have that
So
link.
yeah, if we can get that link up, but a story leaked last week that with the clickbaity headline, "Is Disney bad at Star Wars and analysis?" And I'll show you what I did. I was on X, oddly enough, because I put out, people know I put this out many times. Whenever there's something interesting about Star Wars, I'll tweet out that turning Star Wars from a boy brand into a girl brand will prove to be the costliest decision in movie history. I still believe that. And I'm quoting Variety's story from the Hollywood Reporter. Let me correct myself. Alan, do you not have the link?
I have it.
Yeah, if you would bring that up. But all I said, and I tweeted out the first time meme, which I love. But if you could bring that story up, Alan.
Yeah, I have it. It's
good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure Hollywood Porter lost a lot of friends as a result of this article.
Well, what I don't like about this story, if it's a very clickbaity headline, it's a very they've lost the audience. But I mean, part of the reason, before we get into the story, did you know that a major movie is coming out later this month starring Daisy Ridley? We have a screener for it. We will review it later this month. It's called Magpie. Remember, Alan?
Yes, I've seen the title.
So, does anyone care about this movie, Magpie? I don't think anyone does. So, what I'm saying is, I don't think the Daisy Ridley Star Wars movie is going to happen. She has literally had no traction in her career. She's been in movies that we have covered. They are small indie movies that barely perform or get noticed at the box office. And there's one coming up this month, Magpie. Look it up. They sent Alan and I a screener, and we will review it. But let's get into this story, Alan. Go ahead if you would.
Okay, high budget scrap projects, fan backlash. It's been 12 years since Disney bought Star Wars, and its galaxy far, far away arguably has too many broken toys. There's an exchange in Star Wars The Force Awakens where Finn and Rey are fleeing from stormtroopers and searching for a way to escape. Rey spots that legendary Millennium Falcon, declares it looks like garbage, and then quickly reconsiders the garbage will do. Increasingly, there's the attitude that some fans have with Disney's Star Wars programming. Look, we all know this isn't fantastic anymore, but Star Wars is still Star Wars, and therefore it will do. To be fair, Disney Star Wars shows and movies remain far from space junk. Their titles typically get glowing reviews from critics, box office returns, and streaming ratings that other studios would envy, though at a high cost. So let's run through Disney Star Wars legacy to date, from The Force Awakens to The Acolyte, and to see what conclusions might be drawn, because several aspects of the company track record looks admittedly shaky. A 5-film franchise that was halted after its box office returns trended the wrong direction. 6 live-action television shows, just one of which has been a multi-season hit. A startling number of projects put into development, then abandoned, like Starships on Braca, and one wildly ambitious...
Can you pause for a sec?
Yeah.
I don't even get that reference.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Star Wars planet on Braca? Oh my God. This writer is trying to get some cred with the new Disney audience. Braca, you know what? I don't know what that is. Please continue.
It was probably from the original series. And one wildly ambitious role-play hotel that closed after a little more than a year. It raises the question, is Disney kind of bad at Star Wars, Or is it a case where a very high bar for success combined with a passionate fandom's gripes tend to obscure what is otherwise a hugely popular and lucrative franchise? Let's take a closer look. The films, let the past die, kill it if you have to.
Now that line, when that was really a meta comment in The Last Jedi. It was a meta comment about what we want Star Wars to be, or what supposedly most fans wanted. So, yeah, I mean, like, look, it's so weird how that can come up and be quotable, but it's not quotable in a good way. You know, it's one of the few quotable lines from the sequel trilogy, but it's not a quotable, it's not a complimentary quote. Continue, Alan, if you would. Thanks. And we're going to get to your comments and questions.
Okay, after buying Lucasfilm from George Lucas in 2012, Disney relaunched Star Wars as a franchise trilogy in 2015 with director J.J. Abrams, The Force Awakens. The film was an absolute blockbuster, yet surprisingly, and as it turned out, problematically, the studio did not have a firm creative plan for the next two films, at least not one that was followed. Rian Johnson's 2017 sequel, The Last Jedi, took the story in a different direction that many loved and many didn't. Then Abrams returned to 2019's The Rise of Skywalker and tried to push a narrative closer to the original intentions. Comedians learn in improv class to always say yes and to an idea introduced during the show, no matter how challenging. The studio and Abrams' reaction to The Last Jedi was more like, no, actually, Rey is a nobody. No, she's a Palpatine. The result was a trilogy that was a mishmash of dueling creative visions. Lucas took a similar, I'm making this up as I go along approach to the original trilogy, but it's far easier to maintain a saga's cohesion when all the films are led by the same person. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, the one thing, look, I'm not going to sit here and say Star Wars under Lucas was perfect all the time and it was the bestest ever. I'm not going to say that, but wow, how the prequel films have aged well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anyone says, and your personal opinion, I hated the prequels. That's okay. There's a generation that love them, like Ryan Kinnell or Star Wars Theory, and there are things that are quotable, and there are lightsaber battles that are amazing. There's more good in the prequels than bad. The good outweighs the bad, no matter how you slice it. I'm sorry. And the prequels has its own group of fans. So will the Star Wars sequels, once they're, a decade behind us, they're about to be, The Force Awakens next year will be a decade old. Is there going to be nostalgia for the sequels? I think what most people think about the sequels is they lament what could have been.
Mm-hmm.
They lament, and I'll bring it up for maybe the gajillionth time. Why did you not reunite Han, Luke, and Leia in even one scene? That did not happen. That would have been an iconic moment. And it's the biggest missed opportunity in movie history. What those movies, if it was like Picard season 3, get the old band back together, introduce new characters. You've got legacy characters given their moments to shine. What they did was they unceremoniously assassinated the characters, a legacy character in each film. Han, then Luke, then Leia, to the point where we don't care. I don't know if you want to comment. I like to get more into the story too.
Yeah, I'll just quickly say I remember when the news that they were developing the prequels came out, and they were so adamant about getting J.J. Abrams to be part of it.
You mean the sequels? You said
the sequels.
Yeah.
Okay. They were so adamant about getting JJ, and I remember him, all these quotes of him, because he was doing Star Trek at the time, of saying he didn't want to do both franchises and that he didn't necessarily have the passion for Star Wars. He wanted to be a fan for it.
No. Let me correct you.
Yeah.
He did what was a decent and fun Star Trek movie. Whatever you think of it.
The first one, yeah.
Star Trek 2009 was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But in all the press, he said, I was never really a Star Trek fan. I was more of a Star Wars guy. He was auditioning. He was not just auditioning. He was lobbying to be the person to do a new Star Wars movie. And at the time, because of that first Star Trek movie, I actually thought it was a good choice. In the end, he was a bad choice all along.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really understand the essence, and Star Trek is what it is today. People, I mean, it's a hobbled or irrelevant franchise now.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, it was quickly put together and poorly planned.
Right.
And and we're suffering for it. Sadly, the Force Awakens, it was going to make $1 billion regardless of what they put up there. They could have put the Acolyte up there, and it would have made $1 billion.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. I'll continue. The film's box office also told a story. At the time when Disney's Marvel movies kept breaking new ticket sales records, Force made extraordinary $2 billion worldwide. Jedi dropped sharply, at a large 1.3 billion. Then Skywalker made 1 billion, which is still 1 billion. These are incredible numbers for any film, but they are going the wrong way. When the third entry in your trilogy, launching a new franchise, sells half as many tickets as the first, you probably made a wrong turn somewhere. Around the same time, the studio experimented with 2 standalone titles. There was the 2016 gorgeous-looking and compelling and wildly uneven Rogue One, earning $1 billion, and 2018's wildly panned Solo, which made it disastrous for the franchise, $393 million. A film's reputation has not improved since it was released. Both had behind-the-scenes drama and reshoots that saw the original director being replaced during filming. Was that true for for Rogue One?
Yeah, that's true. Yes, Gareth Edwards was replaced. Now, he stood by the project, but he was replaced, and they reworked. Literally, the first trailer for Rogue One, none of those shots are in the movie. Cut to the end, because we have a very... I want to get the final thoughts on this thing, because I want to hear what you think.
Okay, when you say the end...
Well, like they basically try to justify saying the premise of this story is that Disney is not bad at Star Wars.
Okay, so I have it here.
It's clickbaity, trying to, I got to read this. And then they're trying to basically go against the premise of the headline.
Okay, so here it is. Is Disney bad at Star Wars? On balance, no. Disney gave Star Wars fans what they wanted for decades. A lot more Star Wars from different visionary filmmakers, and some of it has been terrific. Okay. A dormant franchise that once followed a single dynastic storyline has exploded into a more diverse galaxy of characters and stories. Even the oft-maligned sequel trilogy has sequences within each film that are arguably stunning. From its narrative flaws, the Rise of Skywalker farewell scene between Han Solo and Kylo Ren is as moving as anything in the canon.
Oh my God. That's assuming a lot.
Oh my
Here's
God.
Okay, if you want to put that in a review, fair statement. To put that in a story that is described as analysis I wouldn't have done it. You are putting a personal opinion in there, trying to compare it to that's BS. I call BS on that comment.
Yeah, because I barely remember. Okay, and then when they kissed, and shows like The Mandalorian, Andor, and Rebels clear even the highest bar a hardcore fan might reasonably set. On a lot of the online uproar is a sign audience. A lot of the online uproar is a sign audience are, I don't, at least still very engaged and care about this franchise. A truer sign of failure would be apathy and disinterest. I swear to God. I mean the online the television series Andor, Mandalorian. I mean, I even didn't go through it, and I'm a big Star Wars. I just didn't find it interesting.
Season 3, I dipped out. And let me just say this for me, and we'll wrap this up and get to comments. The Rise of Skywalker, the 9th film, the final film in the so-called retroactively renaming it the Skywalker saga, so they can get away from the reason that there are Star Wars fans, which is Han, Luke, and Leia. The reason to get away from that 9th film is the only film I have seen once in a theater and never again. Every other Star Wars movie that came out, I saw multiple times. Probably Empire and the first Empire in Star Wars, I saw that probably 20 times in a theater as a kid.
Yeah.
Going week after week to go see it, seeing it in re-release. Even the prequels, I saw each movie many times. A lot of that was because the experience of seeing those movies was I remember not liking it, but I remember having so much fun seeing it with other fans that I went back multiple times. So, but I think that says something. This article is it's bait and switch.
Do you want to read this last part where?
Yeah, read the last part. We'll go to comments.
Okay, here we go. But here's another question. Could Disney be better at Star Wars? Clearly, yes. The company's live-action movies and TV efforts, on average, could and should be better. In 2018, Disney CEO Bob Iger admitted the company made a mistake with Star Wars, making a movie a little too much too fast. After Iger temporarily left the company in 2020, Disney really made the same error again on the TV side. Lucas famously instructed his actors to be faster and more intense, but that doesn't typically work as a franchise strategy, as Marvel has discovered as well. It's unclear if Star Wars requires more order or less, more Empire-like corporate oversight, or more rebellion-like creative chaos. But it's long seemed like there's somehow too much of both, which has resulted in a master plan that's consistently being rewritten and content that sometimes feels undercooked and clunky. It's not the fault of fans that they increasingly have a bad feeling about this. Any criticism from the sidelines, however, should be tempered with one final point. Making a successful Star Wars project is really hard. Marvel movies, with their iconic stable of heroes who can be portrayed by different actors, are arguably easier. Lucas created a thing and made 6 live-action movies over several decades, and only his first 2 were widely considered excellent by critics and fans alike. Many younger fans adored his prequels, though they never were much loved by critics. There's also what makes making more content so tempting. The original Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back are profoundly amazing and so captivated generations of fans and have launched literally thousands of products and generated billions in direct and ancillary revenue. In 1981, Lucas changed the title of his first Star Wars from Star Wars to A New Hope, and the name is apt. It's literally what's fueled studio executives, creatives, and fans ever since. Each time another Star Wars title opens with rousing fanfare, a scroll, and a starfield, all of us get that feeling, A New Hope, over and over again.
Yeah, look, this is very clickbaity, but they can have their cake and eat it too. They're basically defending Lucasfilm, under Kathleen Kennedy, and then they're defending it, but they get you in with like, oh, finally they're admitting it's bad. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean this article just confounds me.
Well,
is Disney bad at Star Wars? No. No, it is bad at Star Wars.
Yeah. That's what the article. Obviously, there's an agenda behind this, which is to defend Lucasfilm to the people who don't like it. Final thoughts before we go to comments, because there are a lot. We'll get to them.
Yeah, I mean the answer is simple. Lucas Star Wars had one vision, one head, and that was George Lucas.
Right.
Disney now is a committee. Kathleen Kennedy doesn't have a vision for Star Wars, and she shouldn't. She's a studio head. She should have a vision for how to make Star Wars, but she doesn't have a creative team that has. There's no one at Disney that has one focus as to say, this is what Star Wars is. This is what Star Wars means to people. And these are the stories to tell that continue what Star Wars really means.
Well, breaking news. Look what's coming to Disney Plus. I am all about the story of two new gay characters in Star Wars, a rogue pilot and a pirate mercenary that fall in love with a bunch of furries, coming to Disney Plus. I'm sure that
you have it wrong.
This is real.
No. The story is, it's like My Two Dads. These two gay Jedi come together, and they commit to one another and to raise a family of Ewok.
Well, you see from the first picture that's been released of this show, what's the title, Alan? What's the title?
Star Wars Home Alone.
Right. Obviously, this is a joke. Shout out to MK Solid for giving us. He makes my eyes burn daily, and I love it. I love him for it.
He fills my notifications daily.
Yeah, so full, so filled. All right, let's go to your comments here. I need to take a break, Alan, so I'll be back really quickly.
Yeah, let's get to this. Here we go.
Change
Bill
that.
W. Member for what?
I have to change my audio avatar.
Okay. Bill W. Member for 1 month. Disney is bad at Star Wars. Source reality. That's right. Graph Web for $2. In the name of all that is holy, cancel Disney Plus. Here we go. Oilers Workshop for $4.99. For clarity's sake, is Kingpin talking to Daredevil or Matt Murdock? Because we already got a super in Daredevil season 3 between Matt the lawyer and Kingpin in jail. I believe it's Daredevil and Kingpin. I don't think that was clarified during the conversation, but the impression was it's Daredevil, the hooded hero. John Thomas for 10. Oh, effing no. Star Trek 2009 was an abomination. It destroyed Spock and Kirk. It cursed it as I left the theater and watched none of it. J.J. Abrams is a parasite. I think there was... I agree with you from the overhead, I'm trying to come up with the words, but from the distance, yeah, you're right. To see all the movies finally put together, you realize it was a bad decision in the first place. I thought it was interesting to be able to kind of, take Star Trek, the original, in a new direction, which comes to the basic point of, why don't you just continue on with Star Trek and not redo the original? And I think that's ultimately what they got wrong. Derek Timbershaft for 5. Do you, Jar Jar Abrams, take Russell T. Davies to be your lawful wedded bad wolf robot? Yes. From Charles Harrison for 5. Disney probably never sat down with all the high-ups to chart a course for success. They thought they had the secret sauce, such arrogance. Disney, that's not what Disney should do. Disney should have just hired the higher-ups who had a vision and a plan in the first place, rather than say, hey, we just bought this thing. We need to get movies out right now. If you have to do that, you get people who understand the story, who can tell a story, and you build from there. But it just seemed to be, meandering. Okay, here we go. Andrew Wordna, girl brand to a gay brand, a Star Wars story. Solomon Thornton, Disney Star Wars sucks for one reason only. They don't know the spirit of Star Wars, and the spirit is a hero's journey and good against evil.
By the way, Alan, there's They're tearing down a tree in front of my place right now.
No.
I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear it?
I can't hear it.
Oh, good. Okay. It's crazy out there
I'm surprised
right
you
now.
didn't chain yourself around the tree.
I'm saying trucks all over. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, sucks. Yeah, the spirit of Star Wars. Absolutely. All right. Bija Kasai. Wikipedia says Braca is a planet that was part of the Clone Wars. Didn't say or movie, but it's a junk planet. Braca.
Yeah.
Now you get it?
TGTK. All they ever had to do was comply with the canon and lore.
Mhm.
Undercooked and McClunky, says Darth Yeager, who's a member. Thanks for being a member. Bumpy Johnson, just adapt the Star Wars books from the 90s. Yes. That Timothy Zahn series was epic. I read it when upon first publication. The thing that got me was the paintings on the cover. I thought that should have been the sequel. Those paintings, by the way, I read the book while I was listening to the Star Wars soundtrack. It was amazing. So,
Maracus, I loved Return of the Jedi. I loved Return of the Jedi. Harry Anders, a very disingenuous article. In the end, it just wishes to be another mouthpiece for Disney and continuing to toe the line. This is a good point. Why is Disney getting the love from the press? Why is the press shilling so hard for Disney and no other company?
Because of money that they spend.
With the advertising, I guess. But it just the fact that they're supporting all these bad shows and trying their best to move the needle, and it's failing at every turn. All right. Foxwolf, Alan reading like Beardo. All right.
Well, I will say Alan does not skip leg day. That's what I know about Alan is he has very muscular legs, like Red Hulk.
Patrick Lemire, how about writers who aren't hired for their genitalia, melanin, and sexuality, but for skill? Yeah, why not? Blue one 10-18 for 2. Any truth to Basil costing so much money to the Acolyte budget?
Well,
did our little buddy cost so much money?
Yeah, you're talking about Basil, the character that was like the
homing groundhog.
The groundhog that was used to like track.
Yeah, as a tracker.
I mean, maybe it was obviously CG enhanced, part costume. I mean, I thought it was kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's always something cute in Star Wars. So I will defend like Ugnaughts, Jawas, R2D2, the way R2D2 speaks.
Newt Gunray.
No. Porgs. Every Star Wars anything has an element of cute. It either comes from an alien species or robot, but that is part of the mix of everything that is in Star Wars. And, you know, George Lucas seems to have a better handle on what works and what doesn't work.
Well, let's be real. It's also merchandising.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The Ewoks
you had to pay for the next movie. You had to pay for the next movie.
The Ewoks were for sure part of that. So look, the Acolyte budget was irresponsible. I mean, it seemed to be that Leslie Headland hired a lot of friends. Who knows if she had control over what they got paid? I mean, she hired her own wife to be in a major role, and then lots of people she liked working with, you know? So, and then she, at least when it comes to making something Star Wars, seemed really inexperienced. So what that leads to is not creative solutions budget-wise. It leads to spending money to solve a problem. That's a bad producer to me.
Yeah.
Alan,
I'll also say that from my understanding, all the sets were practical. There's not a lot of CG except for backgrounds, and they spent a lot of money. And the detail. I've heard there was an actress at Catalina Film Festival talking about the detail on the sets and how incredible these sets were, and how much money was spent on these sets. There were a lot of them too, and it's just there's a producer who just doesn't know how to spend money.
Yeah.
All right, John Thomas for 10. 1 point. The article is about defending Iger as much as Darth Kennedy. Note they specifically mentioned the bad TV show were under Iger's absence. That is not a coincidence.
Right.
Yeah, because they're shilling for Iger. Let's see.
All right. No,
Here we go. What?
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Thomas Pickett for 5. Check out the artist Tom Jung. He is the original Star Wars poster. He did the original Star Wars posters and Heir to the Empire series.
Yeah, those posters were like the book covers. They were like a movie poster. I was so excited on the shelf. They were, you know how many books that sold? Insane and reinvigorated. I mean, I didn't need to be reinvigorated when it came to Star Wars enthusiasm, but at that time in the early 90s, my God, those books were like, when's the next one coming out? It was, that was a great time of optimism towards Star Wars.
Yeah. And by the way, everyone I knew had a Star Wars poster, that original Star Wars poster.
Yeah.
Christopher Moonlight Productions. Hey, Christopher. I do think Star Wars is done. So is the Alien franchise and Star Trek and so many others. We're closing the door. Some great ideas because we're too busy holding it endlessly open for what isn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's but look, you could have this series. This could be a real, like, my 2 gay Jedi dads could be a real show.
Yeah. It has diversity built in. I think it has legs.
Yeah. But
and the merchandising potential there. Look at that. Look at that handsome Asian man.
Think of it. I really think with the furry angle would be awesome. Someone write this story. Give it a title that sounds Star Warsy.
I'm just thinking about all the conventions.
What are the names of these characters?
Lugnut.
Lugnuts? Oh my God. Oh my
God. I just want the theme song to be the Nub Nub song.
All right. All right. Hey, we have a few more news stories we can get to before our guest joins us at 2:35 p.m. So let's get to these. We keep up with things happening in the news that affects Hollywood. And this one, a couple things. I love keeping up with what's happening in AI. We've shown you, we showed a lot of these AI generated trailers. I think they're really creative. It's not like, it's not like someone will make a whole movie of that yet, but Justine Bateman is someone I follow on Instagram. She is an outspoken voice when it comes to AI and how it will affect the business. And here we go. Justine Bateman warns AI will burn down the business. Let's bring up this story, Alan. This is really interesting. But by the way, I follow Justine Bateman. Follow her on Instagram. She is way ahead of the curve on this. And her commentary is a warning. She is the canary in the coal mine saying, hey, this could destroy the business as it is. If you would, this headline, and this is from, it's
from The Wrap.
The Wrap, yes.
Is it The Wrap? Yeah, The Wrap. Also, it's a series they held at the Grill in Hollywood. So she's actually confronting a AI tech executive here. And so there's kind of a back and forth.
Yeah, let's get into it. If you would read this.
All right. Justine Bateman warns AI will burn down the business. The structure will collapse. It's a video. The Grill 2024, these investment decisions are completely neglecting the gargantuan wild card, human beings, Bateman argues. Filmmaker and AI regulation activist Justine Bateman sounded the alarm on artificial intelligence in Hollywood at the Grill conference on Tuesday, warning that the technology is going to burn down the business. Going toe-to-toe with Gladstone CTO Edward Harris at the RAP annual conference held this year at the DGA. The Violet director and Credo 23 Film Festival founder said that using AI in film and TV will see a loss of jobs, sometimes whole departments, and that when it comes to industry professionals' livelihoods, the structure will collapse. All these conversations and all these investment decisions are collecting the gargantuan wild card, human beings and their decisions, Bateman said. For the business in particular, or is it going to burn down? Yes. She continues, if you start taking out chunks of duties, maybe the whole marketing department, maybe a camera, maybe an actor or half the actors, or the crew doesn't get their days to qualify for insurance because you're only using them 3 weeks instead of 12. Whatever it is, the structure will collapse. Do you want to comment on that before we go to?
Yeah. She's right.
Mhm.
I think some of the jobs that AI will replace will be, people who do your taxes, accountants, a lot of jobs involving numbers,
Mhm.
project management will be aided. Those teams will be reduced. When it comes to creativity, I do believe AI is a tool that must be in the hands of an artist, just like Photoshop. At the same time, the models that they use, the data set that they use to, because when you see these AI trailers, they're using referential material, like say an X-Men comics or the history of X-Men comics, to make the 1950s Panavision X-Men movie trailer. But they're referencing stuff that exists. This is where Justine Bateman, I don't know if it's in this story, but I followed her a lot.
Mhm.
She comments like, those are owned by people. You can't
Mhm.
use someone's likeness. But I've seen AI. Obviously, AI is referencing stuff that already exists to make something new in a new way. Well, what happens to the people who own the stuff that already exists that's being referenced to make the new thing? What happens?
Well, she also mentions industry people, and the one that stands out to me is the marketing department, because now
Right.
you can use AI to cut a trailer.
You can use AI to do a movie poster.
Yeah, you
And
can use AI. You can use AI to do all your social media, to
You
write
can
out each tweet, to schedule each tweet.
You can use AI to do a title sequence for a Marvel show called Secret Invasion. I'm saying it's already being used quietly.
Mhm.
If you would continue, and we're going to go to your comments.
Okay, so this is the response to Justine here. For Harris's part, leaning more and more on AI came down to risk capital and risk mitigation. One of our concerns, absolutely, is what are the risks that come with when you have an AI system that can broadly have superhuman capabilities, he added. Will we get there? Can't be sure, but certainly when it comes to risk mitigation, we need to consider the possibilities seriously. Moderated by, okay, so that's about the, so Bateman then responds, it's like railroad track, and now the railroad track is split in two. On one path, she says, the people are embracing AI and want to crush the structure, are doing so not to make films better, but to write profit margins. Down the other path are those who want to continue pushing the art of filmmaking. Despite the divergence, she thinks they'll reconvene into something new. The art of filmmaking, I think, is going to continue, and I think we'll see after this inferno, a new genre in the film, in the arts. We haven't seen a new genre in the arts since the 90s of any real significance. There's been some exceptional work in the last 15 years, but for the most part, the focus has just been on generating volume content, which is not filmmaking.
Yeah, I follow her. She is so on top of this because I think she sees the writing on the wall. If this is not implemented in a way that's smart, this industry will be, it could be decimated in terms of jobs. It's already being decimated by streaming. I think really big tech kills art. And that's what this will do. It will kill art. Are you going to get someone like a Chris Nolan to come out of indie film, or James Gunn? If it's not harnessed to be used as a tool, if it's allowed to take over, and if the number crunchers just say, well, we'll make this much more money if we do this and just use full AI for the CG. Like, that's a horrifying thought, but I can see that happening. I will say the best experiments will come from indie film. We recently, within the last year, remind me, Alan, you reviewed a movie that was written, acted, voice, and the video images were fully AI. It was called The Passenger.
I think so. I'm trying to remember.
I remember. It was called The Passenger. It's on filmthreat.com. Now, it got a bad review. It was a terrible movie. I saw the trailer for it. It looked awful. But the fact that it could be done, at some point, a good movie will be made using all AI. Because a lot of the film business, or commentary about the film business, is this: people trying to break down what the formula is to a hit movie. There is so much that this will tie in, because AI will be used to do that. There is no formula. It's random. You've heard that term, nobody knows anything. Well, nobody knows anything. But the point is that there is a constant, like, the question that is always asked at every Q&A at a festival: how long did it take you to make the movie? How much did it cost? People want a breakdown of, how can I do exactly what you did? What's the magic formula for success for a movie? And there isn't one. Not overtly. I mean, there are things that work more often, but it's a miracle that any good film is made the way that movies are made today. Final thoughts, we'll go to comments.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with you. I think Hollywood is on the path to destruction. I think she's right.
Really? You're the black pill.
You know, it's funny because we talked about Star Wars and it imploding. I think it's happening here. The system has become so overbloated. So much money is being spent. There's so many people in the system, lawyers, agents, everything, to the point where it can't sustain itself. And now the higher ups are starting to eliminate all these, what they consider excessive ancillary roles, and replacing it with AI. And I think what Justine is saying here is that we're converging. Here's the AI, here's art, and at some point it's gonna, something's gonna happen. It's gonna collapse, and they're gonna come back together. Our left are going to be the indie filmmakers to rise up from the rubble and start, I think, something new. Because I can't see, we're gonna, I got another article here about where Hollywood is headed, and it's not in a good direction, not at all. And so I don't, as much as I've been banging the drum, Hollywood is not the dream. Stay home and make your own indie films. Don't come to LA because there's nothing here for you.
Let's go to your comments here, starting with Supers.
All right. Latino Slant. Hey, Paulie, for $4.99. Hey, fellas, check out Film Threat's great review of A Little Family Drama with Romy Diaz, and is in theaters in selected cities or selected sites.
Cities.
I know.
Thank you, Paulie. Romy Diaz is supposed to be amazing in this film.
She is amazing in this film.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paulie. Shout out to Paulie, good friend of the channel, and just a good person all along.
Yep. And
he takes my shit.
Yet Thanks, another person. All right, John Bladford too.
Alan, how dare you?
I had a full-size Darth Vader wall poster from A New Hope. Actually, it was
awesome.
from Star Wars, but
Yeah,
Joel
from Star Wars.
I know, because I had it from Star Wars. Joe Watkins for 20. Hey guys, you can park your car at my house next time you're in Vegas. I have an armed fortress like a Death Star. P.S. Chris, no Crocs allowed while in Nevada.
I don't even want. First of all, thank you for the generous super chat and for being a member. I don't want Crocs in my own house. I was misled by Atomic Lori. I was misled.
I don't know. When I look at a Croc, I don't think I'm being misled on how good.
You know what? All I can say, it's like getting a tattoo that reads "No regrets." You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
No regrets. Okay. But no, I won't bring my Crocs to Vegas. I'm going to Vegas soon. I'm going for the American Film Market in November.
Yeah, I'm not. All right,
Alan, if you want to go,
how many days is it?
We'll talk after.
Yeah, I'll talk later. Another thing. No, this is what's gonna happen. It's like, hey, you should go too, and then I say, okay, I'm in, and then you're like, I'm too busy. Why don't you just go?
That's my
yeah. I know how the thing works. All right, I'll read Lavery Frog. For 20 pounds. I think AI will be good for previs, especially in pre-funding cycles. But like no one wants a digital comic. I think a main film won't sell unless a significant amount is made by a person.
I agree with that. I'm the white pill on this. I think it'll be a tool. It'll be used, but yeah, digital, like fully rendered digital comics, I are not. And people are buying records. There is something about tactile physical media, handcrafted, done by hand, that matters, and people recognize that. So
here's a question. We don't have to answer it, but did CG really revolutionize movies?
Yeah.
It made things easier, but I'm going to submit that CG hasn't revolutionized movies at all. And that practical is still the best. Even practical models still feel more real than CG.
Well, this image right here is absolutely real.
It is real.
Yeah. It's perfect.
I can get behind that.
Yep. Thank you, Oliver. Appreciate you.
Matthew Hammond for 2. Hollywood is not run by people like movie. Hollywood is not run by people that like movies or television. No, they're run by people who want to make money.
The people that making a lot of TV and movies don't even like TV and movies.
Did Bob Iger watch The Acolyte?
He probably didn't.
Jackson Cagle for 2 in chat.
Thank you, Jackson.
And then he also says, I heard Acolyte 2 is AI. Is it? Patrick Lemire, I think California government is killing the film industry before AI will even get to it. Well, yeah, that's the other part of this. TGTK, imagine everyone with an actual good idea being able to make a feature film. And Solomon Thornton, AI, where it's just a tool that needs to be used wisely, or just don't use it at all.
Right. With anything with effects, you judicious use of a tool makes sense. Also, the first Star Wars was saved by Marsha Lucas. She knew when to cut away. You would never see a special effects shot for very long. So there you go. We have our special guest joining us soon. Our special guest will be joining us. Should we go to the special guest or do one story? What do you think, Alan?
There's one quick one we could do.
Let's do it real quick. Brandy, I see you in our digital green room. Hold tight. We'll get to you shortly.
Yeah. I promise this will go fast. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Just to recap everything, now fewer than 1 in 5 scripted productions are shot in LA. One problem is that more than 1 in 4 industry workers still live there. I think this just says it all. We could talk about this, but it used to be, I believe, the statistics here say that in 2022 it was 22%. In 2021 it's 23%, and then I think at one point it was at 27%. Oh, and 27% of the people working still live in LA. Again, I urge you, don't get on the bus. Don't come to LA. There's nothing here for you.
Well, there's places like Atlanta, Nashville, where productions are happening. This stat does not surprise me. 20% of scripted productions are shot in LA. Like, that's you don't need to be here. I would say find a city that is you like to live in, that has a good quality of life, an affordable quality of life. It is not affordable in LA. I mean, I feel very fortunate. I get to some movies I get to see without paying for them and whatnot. But wow, if it's unbelievable how expensive. You don't live in LA, Alan.
I know.
I mean, I'm in Pasadena.
It's so expensive where I live.
Yeah, California is expensive. So what is to get into the stats? What is the conclusion here? Not surprising conclusion.
Well, I mean, the conclusion is, is going in the wrong direction.
Right.
It's 20% today. Next year was going to be 18, 17%, 15. They don't shoot television shows in LA like they used to, sitcoms and stuff. It's just, because I have friends who have kids who want to get into Hollywood, and I sadly have to tell them, you may not want to, buy that ticket. You don't want to come to LA, and it's sad to say that. I love LA. I've grown up here.
Well, this is a startling, though unsurprising stat, and it's very sad for the future of the industry, but maybe necessary that the industry is diversified and you're able to work in film, but all over. And when it comes to indie movie, we talk to a lot of indie filmmakers, and you know what? They're all over the US. They're all over. Name a place there is someone struggling to do an indie movie in that city. And that's, to me, is encouraging, but this is sad. It's sad.
We'll talk to our next guest about where their film was made.
Yeah. Well, let's there you go, Alan. Okay.
All right.
We have one quick comment here.
John Platford 2. I watched This Is 40 again. It's so funny. Had me ha ha ha. And then Deva Glenn. Alan loves LA. He loves it. I love LA. I'm sad where we're at, but I still love the city.
Okay. Let's talk to our next guest. Brande Roderick is the director of a film called Wineville. Have you heard of it? Well, if you haven't, she's going to tell us all about it. Hey, Brande.
Hey, guys.
Hey,
hi.
Thank you for joining us on the show. Lovely to have you here. Tell us about your movie, Wineville.
Well, it is a thriller horror film, and it's based in 1978. And it's kind of got that feel. I always loved all the late 70s, mid 70s films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Last House on the Left. So I wanted to, create that atmosphere in a film. But it has a woman, myself, who comes back to Wineville and has to go and take care of the family vineyard because her father had died. And she had run away from home when she was 15 because of some very, very horrific things that had happened. And, this is a story of a serial killer family. And it's loosely based on the true story about the chicken coop murders that actually happened outside of Los Angeles. And the story was so horrific that they actually changed the name from Wineville to Mira Loma. So that's a true story. And where we filmed was on Wineville Road in Mira Loma / Wineville, right next door to where the chicken coop murders actually happened. And if you haven't seen The Changeling, you should see it. It's a great movie. It talks all about the true story. But anyway, so this woman has to come back to settle the family winery, and when she comes back, things have just festered and darkened. It got even worse than it was when she left home. And now not only does she have to try to escape herself, but now she has to try and escape with her young son. And she'll do anything to help protect her young son and get him out of that horrific situation.
Well, I have to compliment you first on your background. I see a Wineville poster. Very smart on the marketing side.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it was smart. You're marketing your movie, you're selling it. And also, this is the piece of advice I give to all actors, which is produce yourself. Don't put your destiny in someone else's hands, someone else to cast you. Cast yourself and make a movie starring yourself.
That's exactly what happened. And I did that because during COVID, as you guys know, there was just no work. And I was actually filming a Christmas movie with my son. And that was it. Like we were, on set. This was the only thing that got approved. There's no other movies getting approved. And I'm just like, you know what? I've got to create this myself. I'm going to do my own story. I'm going to, find my location and just do it myself and create it so that it's ready when we're able to shoot. And we were still shooting during, wearing masks and the whole thing. But that's exactly what I did. I'm like, I got to create my own movie. Yeah.
And what was and to direct it? What was the kind of decision on your part behind doing that as well?
The directing part?
Yes.
Well, it actually happened because, as I think you guys know, Richard Shankman, who is my writer and one of the producers, and I knew that I would have him as my mentor by my side every step of the way. So I was lucky enough to have him, there on set every day, with a seasoned, wonderful, fantastic director. So I was very lucky.
And then we have over 2,000 people watching live right now. They have a lot of questions for you. So before we get to their questions, one I know everybody likes to ask, which is how long did it take to shoot? And then what was your general budget and how'd you raise the money?
It took 2 weeks to shoot, which is crazy when the whole film to Amazon took, 3 years total, just about 2.5 years. The actual shooting only took 2 weeks. We did 6-day weeks. We had Sundays off. We did 12-hour days and turned it around. So we right down to the wire, definitely.
And then the budget in terms of the money. I don't know if you'll. Yeah, I always say. What's that?
Be very general. I would say that.
Well, yeah. I will. I won't tell you the amount only because here's the thing, and I'm glad that you're asking me this because this is something that all new filmmakers maybe should not do this. I funded the film myself. And I have so many great, producers are saying, Brande, don't do it. But I didn't want to waste time, talking and trying to, I'm just not the type of person to go out asking for money. That's just not my style. It's just tough. Plus, I didn't want to be under anybody's thumb. I wanted it to be my project creatively. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have the worry also about getting somebody's money back to them, because as you guys know, that's so stressful. So I sold my house and followed my passion and my dream and decided to do it and jump in with both feet. But I would not recommend normal people to do that. I'm a little crazy and nutty, as you can tell from the film and the script, that I'm really demented and crazy. So I did that.
Yeah. To answer the chat's question, yes, this is the Brande Roderick. And the other thing is, what I appreciate about the film is it goes in some very bizarre directions, and I really love that about this movie. And I felt like that if you were taking someone else's monies, that they might dissuade you from going in certain directions at certain points in the film.
100%, and that's what was so important to me, was to create these crazy plot twists, right? Mm-hmm. And create such shocking moments. And I wanted to push the envelope. I didn't want to do what other people are doing. I wanted to take these crazy ideas that I had and make them a reality. And And that's what I did. And you're right. I didn't have anyone telling me no. However, there is one scene that Richard, the one with Aunt Margaret and young Joe, with the movie projector.
Yeah.
He wrote that part, and he actually had to really convince me to do that. But he did, and I'm glad that we did it, because it really lends itself to teaching you and telling you what their backgrounds and why they are so effed up, what made them this crazy way. And that's one of the reasons I think that shows why Joe's so messed up.
Let's go to comments from the chat here. So many people have questions for you.
Okay.
Brock Samsonite says, welcome, Brande. And A. Dallas 24 says, when scouting for locations, was the plan to always shoot in California? What are the benefits and hindrances for an indie film choosing to shoot in the state these days?
Well, for me, it actually started with the location, because my friend owns Galliano Winery, which is the oldest winery in California. So for me, it was a huge benefit to shoot here because I had a free location. But shooting in California, you don't get any of the tax breaks. There's the downfall there. So it's kind of, I think, evened itself out, getting a free location but not having the tax breaks. So I think, you're fine shooting here as long as you're not paying for locations. And a lot of times you can find people that are willing to let you shoot for free, but they're more willing to let you shoot for free outside of California, because people in California are a little numb to it, right? They're a little numb to show business. But if you go outside of California, they actually think it's cool. They're like, sure, come shoot here. And they get all excited about it. Or at least go outside of Los Angeles, I should say.
Question from Solomon Thornton. Greetings, Madam Brande. What was the process of getting this film made?
Oh, that's going to take days to talk about. But like I kind of just said, the process was having a location first, getting together with Richard, my writer, going to the location. We started out with our characters. We knew that I was going to be in the movie, and we wanted a strong female character. We knew my son was going to be in the movie. So we developed the characters around their relationship, and we would just look around the location. And the location was made in like the early 1900s. So it really lends itself to that really creepy vibe, with the old barns, the old farm equipment, the old winemaking equipment. So we were able to really, go around and kind of create just from looking at that vision. So that's kind of how it all started.
Joe says, what book was the main source material for the screenplay?
No book. The book is right here. It's my crazy, demented head, along with Richard Shankman. Together, we're pretty sick. But there were influences from the Chicken Coop murders, which was a real murders that happened right next door to this house. So there was just kind of that eerie feeling that we already had and kind of were going off of. And but it's just really from our sick heads. No book.
From Red French Moon, I think a vineyard is a character in itself. How did you approach to capture the vineyard atmosphere on camera?
Well, that would be my great cinematographer. But it really wasn't hard, because the property is so beautiful in any time of day and night. The way that the moon was shining on the barn, and the way that the sun was shining over all the vineyards at certain times of day. So it was just, it just had, like you said, it's a character in itself, and it was very easy to shoot. We really didn't have to do much craziness with lighting and things like that, because it was already so great.
Patrick Lemire asks, how much did the actors rehearse to make sure the shoot went fast?
Well, there's actually a kind of a quick story behind that, because during our casting process, for one of the characters, actually two different characters, there was some really crazy people that seemed really crazy in real life. And I loved him. I was like, oh my God, they're so wacky and nutty, and they're going to be perfect for this character. And Richard Shankman again said, Brande, no, you don't want to do that, because on films like this, you only get, 1 or 2 takes. We don't have a huge budget to be taking all day. And when you have someone that's unpredictable and a little nutty in real life, that they might be, go off the rails and need a million takes. So luckily, I had that great advice in the beginning. And so I cast complete professionals that have been in this business a long time, that have a great reputation. That is so important. So that when we got on set, honestly, I would say they all got it in 1 take, but we all, had our second take for safety. But that's the key, is really getting professional, seasoned actors that know to show up and be prepared. So we got everything in pretty much usually in 2 takes.
From English batchers, how do you approach thinking of an original kill, or do you go derivative? Do you like or have jump scares?
So I like jump scares, some jump scares. And there's maybe a couple in my film. My film is not so much a jump scare, typical slasher movie. It's very plot driven. It's very, a lot of plot twists and, things that are happening that you really wouldn't expect. And we're really going deep into the characters and what made them the way that they are. So we're really not like your typical slasher movie, but you will be shocked a lot. Yeah. And what was the beginning part of that question? Something about kills?
Original kills. Like
when you kill someone, do you do it original or derivative?
I tried to think of things, again, that's pushing the envelope that I haven't seen yet. That I think would make people, oh my God, like really cringe and freak out. So that's kind of how I went about, coming up with the kills. Really just, and Richard too, because, he was the writer. But yeah, coming up with things that just I haven't seen.
And one last question here. I think it's a very good question. Aid Ellis 24, how was it directing your son in his second ever film role? Was there a distinct difference of attitude between director Brande and Keaton's mom?
No, I'm always the same hard ass mom, no matter what. I'm sure I'm probably harder on him than everyone else. But the way that Richard wrote the script was so that it's Keaton and I talking. It's very conversational. It's the way that we would talk to each other. And that's what was so great, being able to do that, because when I'm running around trying to play producer and putting out a million fires at once, I need to be able to just come, to the scene, to the set, and just be ready to go. And being able to work with my son and just being so natural, it just made it easy. It's not like I had to delve in and go over my character and get into character, right? It was just mom Brande, mom Tess, so that made it was great. It was just, it's like our normal banter back and forth pretty much.
Well, Brande, congratulations. Wineville is out now.
Yes.
It's out now, right?
Yes, it is. Yep.
And I noticed there's an Instagram, and you can find info. Just Google Wineville or look it up on VOD. And
Amazon. The normal places: Apple, Amazon, Google Play, and then WinevilleMovie.com. We have a practical, so we have our DVD with all the behind the scenes stuff and all the special features, and you can get an autographed DVD on WinevilleMovie.com.
Wait, you can? Wait,
yeah.
Oh, I just found it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is good. I have to share screen here. So I love movie marketing like this. So this is good.
Yes. Yes. No,
this is it. Here we go. We're getting a taste of the film here.
Oh, yes.
It's all the relevant links, the trailer. You've got where to watch it. There you go. Yeah. So, wow. I would not have expected a film like this coming from you. I don't know why. I just did not expect it.
I get that. But you know what? When I was growing up, I was tormented as a child by my entire family. We were a horror family. I watched The Exorcist when I was 6 years old with my mother. My dad tortured my brother and I constantly, like running in the house with a knife with a stocking over his head. I'd be coming out of the bathroom late at night and dark, walking down the hallway. He'd grab my leg and bite it and have foam coming out of his mouth after we watched Rabid. Just tons of stuff. And instead of like having princess parties, when I was a kid, we had we slept outside in the tent and watched Sleepaway Camp. And my dad would come out and torment all the girls at night and shake the tent and scare everybody. So I've just been, I grew up like this. And I even took serial killer classes in college, like the mind of the serial killer. Like I actually took courses about this. So I've been like into this my entire life. So it's my head is, really filled with all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, when I was watching the movie, there was multiple moments where I'm just going, they're going there. I know they're going there, and you just went there, and
we went there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you did your own stunts?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. I don't know if you remember, but when I was on Baywatch, I did all my own stunts there too.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Brande, thank you so much for joining us today. Congrats on the film. By the way, want to remind you that you are eligible to be nominated at Award This. It's our Indie Film Awards event. We've done it now. This is our 6th year. And so you made a film that got released. It got reviewed on Film Thread. You are eligible. So
are we going to be able to go somewhere? Is this a physical?
Yes, in January, it's a party. So
I'll be there.
I'll just you are on the short list. So
I will be there. I promise.
All right, great. Well, thank you for joining us today. Congrats on the movie, and come back and talk to us about the next film.
I will. Well, thanks, guys. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you. Take care, Brande.
Okay, we'll see you later. Bye.
What a great way to end the show. What's that?
Brande Roderick.
Yeah, dude.
I tell you.
I didn't want to say anything. I was very disarmed.
I'd
say I was very disarmed.
When I saw the list of what was on today, I was like, yes, finally.
Yeah.
That was such a good movie, too.
Quick super came in. Josh Irwin just sends in $2.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Josh. And remember what Lord Thoth says at the beginning of every show. Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Sign up as a member. Join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. And buy our merch at shop.filmthreat.com. And thanks to our mods, Lord Thoth, Grid Iron Masters, Atomic Lori, Glenuccio, and just everyone who helps out on the show. MK Solid, Leo Cody. We get so much help on the show. We're really here to have fun and talk about film. And the fact that we had so many people today, it's just really... So when you prep for the show and you suggest all these stories, do you pre-read them in advance?
Well, again,
this is a list of things that
this story came out at the last minute.
All right, we'll talk about this on Friday. Next story.
Are you answering an email?
Yeah, because that's all I fucking do.
Yes, but I believe that email has been resolved.
I believe it has.
I believe it has been resolved and should not be affecting the show right now.
I also know how hard Alan works. You see, you got applause at the end.
And you missed the part where you said, and you are the father.
Yeah. Hey, we'll be back on Friday with, oh my God, Terrifier 3, Piece by Piece, The Apprentice. That's the Trump movie.
Yes.
Brande
was on The Apprentice, by the way.
Yes. We Live in Time, Modernism. We have 8 movies again. This is crazy. We might have an interview, a big show on Friday. But thank you everyone who sent in a super, and just really appreciate it. It's always fun. I look forward to doing this, I really have a good time with Alan and everyone. Alan,
let's get out of here.